Welcome to the Imaginal Life podcast. I'm Frances LaCuesta, and I help women thrive and live a life they love. Together, we'll explore how to tap into our potential, unlock possibilities, and find beauty in this messy and imperfect journey we call life. Hey friends! So in this episode, I'll talk about the inspiration behind this podcast and why I believe we are all imaginals in the context of living in today's world. So this podcast, The Imaginal Life, is inspired by the life cycle of the universal symbol of transformation, which is the butterfly. So when the caterpillar becomes a chrysalis, the imaginal cells, which are already inherent in the caterpillar, divide rapidly during the process. And the caterpillar initially thinks that these imaginal cells are invaders, and so its immune system tries to fight back. But as the caterpillar turns into this gooey, soupy mess, that is the chrysalis. The imaginal cells now overcome the caterpillar's defenses and join forces until it completes the process and it becomes a beautiful butterfly. So there are several ways that, for me, this metaphor plays out in our life. And this is how I see it. The first being is to think of this time that we have together in this podcast as a chrysalis, where you have permission to be your most authentic, imperfect self. So while we already have the potential, and by the way, I think of the imaginal cells as the potential that we have in us, or the possibility of who we want to be, we need a container or a chrysalis to be in to unlock these potentials. We will fight and resist our growth in the form of limiting beliefs, our monkey mind, or I also refer to it as the inner mean girl, some of our traumas, and our past conditioning. But allow me in this podcast to remind you of what's possible and of how brilliant and magnificent you are. Another way to see it is that sometimes there's an area in our lives where we feel like we are still in that caterpillar stage. Or there's a time when we are just in our chrysalis and we're just really biding our time. Or we go through different sets of difficulties and challenges and we are just having difficulty believing that our lives can get better. And we're fighting, our own potential. Just like when the caterpillar was fighting off the imaginal cells. But when we learn to surrender and play on our strengths and partner with ourselves, that's when we allow ourselves to transform into the butterflies that we already are. And it is really an ongoing journey, this journey of transformation, because there is that stage where you are at the moment. So maybe there's an area in your life where you just feel like you have fully grown and transformed. It could be in the area of your relationships, career, money. Or there's an area in your life where you are still on a different stage, that you're just maybe right now just taking everything in. Or it's an area where you feel like you're a little bit stuck and you need to be in this chrysalis so you can grow more. And wherever you are is okay. The important thing is that there is awareness of where you are and what stage you're in. And acknowledging that stage. And that wherever you are is where you are supposed to be at the moment. And there's really nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with that. And so if you leave out the judgment, probably leave out the self-berating thoughts and comments, that jabbering in your mind that's nonstop, and to be in that stage where you are in your own journey and process. Because, as I mentioned, it's ongoing. It's never ending. This journey of transformation is nonstop. It's not like when you feel you have completed the process, it ends there. No. Life continues. Life moves on. And we are in different stages at each time. But the invitation here is actually to keep learning and keep growing. Another way to look at it is in our society, that we are all imaginals in our own way. And if we realize that we are not for ourselves alone, and that we're interconnected and what we do affects others, then imagine if you trust and have faith in yourself and what you can do to create resonance in the world by using your talents and skills. We can come together and co-create a better, kinder world. And lastly, the life that we have can also be considered as the chrysalis. It's gooey, it's messy, and imperfect. But if we do the inner and outer work, trust that there's something beautiful that will come out of it. So one of my teachers, John Kabat-Zinn, is known as the father of mindfulness in the West. He said, and I quote, "I have an ethical obligation to use my life in a way that maximizes well-being and reduces suffering. It is then, for me, our ethical obligation to use this one wild and precious life we have to bloom, to grow, and to contribute." Transformation is not an easy process. Rather, it's hard work, like real hard work. But we just have to remember to find joy in every step of the way. All right, friends, that's it for me today. If this resonates with you, find me on Instagram and drop me a message. Look for me at Big Impact Women. Until next time, bye for now. Thank you for listening. You can read and download a full transcript at bigimpactwomen.com/The Imaginal Life. If you like this episode and want to hear more, hit the subscribe button in your favorite podcast app. If you feel moved and inspired, head to iTunes and leave us a review. I love hearing your feedback on how we can continue to grow and evolve the program. I believe when women come together, we can co-create humanity's new story and contribute our gift